Hey guys, I'm Jax, and this is my spoiler review for Yellowjackets Episode 1 of Season 2. So with the new season of Yellowjackets comes a couple more survivors from the crash. We see a couple more people in the present day. Well, we get one specifically, and we get another one that is confirmed via casting, but they don't appear in this episode, but we do get a little cheeky snapshot in the opening credits that have changed ever so slightly, so I won't talk about one of them, but the one I will talk about that I am very excited to discuss is Lottie. After the terrifying reveal at the end of Season 1 that Lottie had something to do with Travis's death, it was presumed she had survived, but now we get proper confirmation. But not only that, what we got was something that I will now describe as the third timeline. I was super keen to see something like this post them being rescued, like straight after the rescue. I was really interested to see if they would do something like this, but I also kind of thought maybe that'd be something you might say for like a Season 3 or maybe even a Season 4. Like you'd hold off that. Like I kind of figured we would see Lottie in the present day, but I was really surprised and really excited to see them getting off the plane and focusing on Lottie. She's not speaking, she's traumatized, and seeing them do this awful shock therapy and all this kind of stuff I found really super interesting and super compelling. And it's also kind of terrifying to see her not speaking and them doing all this kind of therapy and this really awful, rough kind of treatment on her that kind of just looks like they're torturing her, but like in the doctor's way where they're like, oh, actually this is gonna help her, but it's like it doesn't feel like it's probably gonna help her, and it feels quite medieval. And then cutting to her at this big wellness retreat, and she's like this cult leader looking character, and they're all dressed in purple, everyone's kind of a bit hippie, but you kind of know there's something sinister underneath it all just because they kidnapped Nat, and you know, she's a cannibal. She might still be a cannibal. She might be making them all cannibals. Like, you really don't know. And I like that still we don't really know anything, but that whole wellness retreat vibe, cult vibe, really upsetting. Just like, I don't know, everything seemed too chill, where you're just kind of like, what's underneath the surface of this cult? And it turns out we did not have to wait very long to find out that this cult wellness retreat situation is awful and it's terrifying, and it's exactly what I expected. Animal masks, naked man in a hole burying him. That's exactly what I expected. Like, not exactly, obviously, because that would be very oddly specific, like nailing all those exact points, but I expected something truly horrifying. Like, as they all walked out and they're like banging a drum and it was all kind of spiritual, but you kind of knew something was going to be off and weird. As soon as they had him in the hole and they're burying him, I'm like, I'm horrified, but I am, to be honest, not very surprised. So after Nat tricks and then stabs a fork into that naive, let's be honest, kind of idiotic guard that she had, who was just like you just look at Nat and you're like, she looks like she's gonna try something. Even if she's saying, hey, I'm not gonna try anything, like, I just want to eat with my hand. Like, it's like, she just looks like she has that kind of vibe and that energy of someone who's gonna try something. Like, if I was kidnapped, I'd just be sitting there being like, oh my god, this is awful. And I just don't look like someone who's like, I might, like, maybe the courage will come, it will be summoned from the depths of my soul. Probably not, to be honest. I mean, I don't know. But I don't look the type, you know? Some people look like they're going to attack you and try and stab a fork into your hand. And Nat, you know, I'm not trying to throw shade. I love Nat, but she has that vibe. So this naive guard gets stabbed in the hand, and Nat runs away and she's running through the woods, and you're like, she's definitely going to escape. Except that, of course, she hasn't actually met Lottie yet, and they haven't had an interaction, so she 100% will not escape, because that would just be really weird storytelling. Like, just be like, but we know it's Lottie, and they didn't have, like, an interaction. So I was not surprised that as she's running through these giant, expansive woods, she finds that one little opening where they're doing the ceremony, where they're burying the naked old man. For reasons? I don't know. To be honest, I don't really think I want to know. I just like, let's just leave it. Like, they're doing weird stuff. I don't really want to know. But now I say that, oh, that mystery box is just sitting there and I just want to peek inside and be like, why, Lottie? What is up? Are they going to eat him? Oh yeah, that's probably it. It always comes back to eating them. Like when she rips their ear off. Like Shauna's got the frozen ear of Jackie, and I'm just sitting there being like, she's gonna eat that ear, isn't she? She's gonna eat that ear. And lo and behold, the episode ends, she eats the ear. We'll circle back to the first moment of cannibalism because I want to discuss. But last thing on Nat. So Nat and Lottie have a confrontation. She's got the wood. She's like, I'm gonna hit you in the face and kill you, and I'll put you in that hole. And then she's like, no. And she does that cryptic, terrifying, but kind of, you know, like suave, kind of, you know, there's that weirdly, oddly kind of therapeutic, charming kind of way she speaks, where you're like, I guess like this is like comforting, but it's also just super unsettling. Like, it's just got such a weird vibe. The character is just really, I don't know, mysterious and kind of scary with that kind of spiritualness, but because there's all this kind of underlining feeling of, but she cannibal, she gonna turn into cannibal, or she was cannibal, maybe still cannibal. I don't know, I just like the vibe of her makes me really like unsettled. And so she does her usual cryptic stuff and says, I have a message from beyond the grave from Travis. And it's like, you mean the guy you killed? I don't know why Nat's gonna care. But I mean, obviously she'll care, but still. But also, it would be a super fun twist if maybe there was another cannibal cult or something who killed Travis. And Lottie's like, actually, I'm not the bad guy. But she definitely is, because it was confirmed that Lottie took the money out of Travis's account and killed him. And I think it would be a weird twist to be like, actually, Travis was bad and he deserved it. And I, Lottie, am the hero. So I think it will just be that Lottie is the bad guy. It kind of just makes sense. Like, that just works for me. I think that's like really interesting. And I also think on that point of her kind of feeling like the villain in the present day, I was really interested that after those terrifying kind of spiritual kind of creepy moments of them putting the bear's heart in the snow and the snow's all there, this episode, she kind of wasn't as kind of scary and menacing as kind of she was in those last few episodes, or as she is in the future. She's like kind of, I don't know, like their spiritual leader, like this person who's giving them, doing all these kind of, I don't know, kind of old, kind of voodoo looking kind of situations, making them drink blood and do all this kind of old school primal kind of witchcraft kind of feeling stuff going on. And I don't know, but it kind of felt like it was helping them. Whether or not it's actually doing anything, it's all like a mindset thing. Like, it doesn't matter if she is magic, which she probably isn't, but it's like, it's not really that. It's that what they believe in that moment. And I found that really interesting. That was maybe one of my favorite aspects of season 1 is like, is she a prophet? Is it just happy coincidences? Like, what's going on with this character? But it's just how people perceive what she's saying and what she's doing. It almost doesn't really matter if she is magic or a prophet or something, which I don't think she will be, but maybe, who knows? Like when she touches Travis and she's like, hey, don't worry, even though your bro's been out in the cold for 2 months and there's literally no way he could possibly survive, he's totally fine. I just have a feeling. So like, as soon as she said that, I'm like, oh my God, he is somehow probably going to be fine, because that's just going to keep reinforcing this intense thing about Lottie where she keeps saying things and you could read it that she's just kind of full of shit and just happens to keep being very lucky, but that would just be such a, I don't know, that's just such a swing in the dark. Like, how could she know? She must know something. Whereas it's essentially a yes or a no situation. Just the no is like a 0.000% chance of the kid surviving. And on Harvey being still lost, that really kind of shocked me and kind of, I don't know, just made me really sad. Like, when I realized that they weren't just out there hunting, they're out there looking for Harvey still. It's like, whoa, it's been 2 months. It's like fully snowing. Like, oh my God, it looks so beautiful. Just so gorgeous. Every time I see snow, I just love it. It looks so beautiful and amazing and kind of, I don't know, such a fairy tale vibe, but also kind of terrifying and cold and harsh. Like, it's such a kind of odd, kind of contrasty juxtaposition of how it looks, but how it actually is. Like, I've been to the snow and it looks beautiful. You're like in your cabin being like, oh man, it's so beautiful. And then you get outside and you're like, oh my God, it's so cold, and you walk and you're falling over, and it's just like, it's just a crazy combination of things. So I'm really liking all of that. What I'm not liking is the fact that Travis is still holding on to hope that Harvey is like alive, but it's been 2 months. Like, just heartbreaking, devastating stuff. So in season 1, we follow about, I would say, 70-80% of the people that have crashed. And we follow them and they all get lots of dialogue and they're all essentially main characters. And there are a couple of characters that aren't main characters that I feel like don't get any lines or get a line here or there. But now I'm thinking about the first season, I don't remember them whatsoever. And then very early on in this episode, we're in the cabin. I think they must have realized they had to do a scene like this because we're so close and confined and like restricted in the cabin that like they're gonna have to have lines now, I guess. But there's like 3 of them and they're all kind of sitting by themselves as like kind of the B team. And they were all like, oh, what are the main characters talking about? Look at us extras that now have speaking lines. What do we think of this situation? And I swear to God, they've all been recast. Or they were so like inconsequential of season 1, they haven't been recast, but I literally didn't remember them. Like when it cut to the shot of those 3, I like had a freak out. I'm like, did I miss an episode? Did I miss a scene? Have there been other survivors they've found? Like, who the hell are these 3 people? I swear at least 1 or 2 of them must be recast. Like, I haven't Googled it because there's just no time and I really don't know how. And I don't know, for some reason I'm like afraid of spoilers. Like, I didn't watch the trailer for season 2. I just don't want to find out anything. So, I don't know. I know that they aren't new characters, but they must be people from last season. But to me, it was so just odd to see these 3 characters talking. And I was like, they were there last season. I mean, I'm going to have to Google because honestly, it was really bizarre to me. I swear to God, if they haven't been recast or, I don't know, just like given lines for the first time, I'm going to be baffled. Like, if they were characters that had speaking lines and any kind of a thing resembling a story or a plot or arc, I'm going to lose my mind because I don't remember them whatsoever. Alright, so let's discuss the very first cannibalism of the show. I honestly couldn't believe it happened so quickly. I thought we'd have at least another full episode of her just like looking at the ear, just being like, oh, that ear does look pretty tasty. And something, I want to devour my best friend who maybe I hated, but I, got her killed by yelling at her and telling her to sleep outside. It's like a very complicated situation, but I feel like there's some kind of metaphor there where she's like eating and devouring like her friends. Like, it feels kind of more personal than just being me super hungry, which is, it's terrifyingly complicated and I absolutely love it. I don't know. Often I find if you see a character die, you don't ever want to see them come back and like talk and have those kind of dream sequences or visions because it kind of, it takes away from that kind of heartbreak of not seeing them anymore. Like, they're dead. They're not in the show anymore. Like, they don't exist. But I really liked how she's kind of psychoanalyzing herself. At one point, Jackie's like saying something and she's like, I didn't know. And Jackie's like, yes, you did. And she doesn't need to say it. It's the subtext. But it's pretty much like Jackie being like, yes, you did. I'm not actually here talking. This isn't me saying stuff. You know all this stuff. Shauna, you're having a conversation with yourself. Do you not realize? And Shauna's like, oh God, I am. And like throws the frozen corpse of Jackie, which just, that moment it cuts to her and you're like, what? The frozen body is just sitting here in the meat storage freezer with the bear carcass? Like, what? That is... I don't know why Coach or any other of the girls are like letting her do this. Like, that... It's just not healthy. Like, I don't understand how they think that is good for her psyche to, like, sit there in the meat, like, freezer, chopping up the meat carcass of the bear while looking at her, like, frozen dead friend. And it's like, she didn't kill her. But, like, more so than anyone else, it was her fault. Like, if they hadn't had a fight, she'd be dead. So there's a lot of stuff that would be going on in Shauna's mind. And to just have the frozen body sitting there, all rigid and terrifying looking, just... What are they thinking? Like, I know that they are all stressed and they're tired. I guess maybe they're just so tired, they're like, I don't know, I just can't be bothered. Let her just have her absolute freak out, like, just whatever. I guess it's over there, it's fine. Like, Coach does look very tired. He's like, oh, I am sick of this. And he misses his boyfriend, which I respect. That's, oh yeah, you'd be so sick of that, just sitting in that cabin with all these teenage girls. It's just like, poor Coach. And so she cracks Jackie's ear, picks it up, puts it in her pocket, and as soon as it went in the pocket, I was just like, oh, just saving that for later, are we? Just a little cheeky snack for later. But I truly did not expect this episode to end with her just eating the ear. Just, oh my God. We know cannibalism is going to happen because of the start of last season with those terrifying opening scenes and images. But like, I don't know, to see it happen in this way with Jackie and Shauna and all the past complicated history and all the other things I said before, it's just, I love it. It's so upsetting. It's just, I didn't think it would make me so happy to see them get into the cannibalism so quickly. And the team still do not trust Misty since she poisoned them all with shrooms, which is very, very fair. She's, yeah, that's not good. That was a bad move by Misty, especially when she like knew what would happen and she was meant to do it to Coach, which is terrifying and awful. But like when she realized it was going to happen to everybody, she didn't go, all right, I'm going to fess up. She's like, yeah, let's just see how this plays out, I guess. Just no good. But they are still punishing her, which is really, really sad because Misty is easily my favorite character. She's super complicated, super tragic. You totally kind of feel bad for her, but also she does really terrible things like smash the flight box thing that could have saved them very, very early on and kind of caused this whole situation because of one compliment. So yeah, you understand her, but oh my Lord. She's still easily my favorite character though, and this episode she made a friend and that was just so wonderful. Just like really, really sweet. Just warmed my heart. And in the present day, Misty gets up to her classic Misty situations and is just super charming and awesome in like that terrifying way. Like, I am just loving her performance, loving everything she does, her pretending to be a cop interrogator. Gold. I love it. Her actually interrogating like that old man who's like, I will not give this up. And she's like, I'll sit here all day and just stare at you with these terrifying giant eyeballs. And he's like, all right, you've called my bluff. Just get out of here. Here's the info. Just so good. And there is an impossibly exciting tease for a character and actor. I mean, the character, who cares? But the actor that they have got for this character, I couldn't believe it. It was in the email she was reading, or maybe not the email. I think it was like a Reddit thread or something like that. A comment on the interwebs or whatever. And she's like reading it at first, and then it transitions into the person who it is, like reading it. And it's none other than Frodo Baggins. What? Like the greatest character from the greatest movie of all time? Elijah Wood? Elijah Wood is in Yellowjackets Season 2? What? Yes, please. Oh my god. Honestly, the only bad part about this episode is he didn't appear in the flesh. I want to see him in the flesh. Just give me Frodo Baggins, please. Right now, oh my god. So in the present day, Ty finds out that her wife hates her, and she's like, why? What did I do? It's not like I was sleepwalking / sleep killing dogs and beheading them and putting them on altars in terrifying shrines in the basement in a little thing in the basement. It's not like I'm doing weird stuff like eating dirt or sleepwalking and suddenly I'm at the top of a tree. I don't do that. Oh wait, yes you do, Ty. Oh my god, like what is going on with her sleepwalking / sleep just being terrifying? I don't understand. Like I understand there's like some kind of psychological breakdown situation, but it's really upsetting. Like she's essentially got like this other personality while she sleeps. It's like out of some kind of supernatural horror film. It's really upsetting. And when she like crawls in, she sees it all and she's just kind of like she's not like, what? What could this possibly be? It's like this kind of realization of like, oh, I did this. This was definitely me. So like, what did she do on the island? Sorry, in the wilderness. Just a warning for everyone. I will continuously say the island. When I say the island, I mean the wilderness where they're stuck in the 1996. Because it just reminds me so much of Lost in so many ways. So I'm just gonna keep saying that, so I apologize. But yeah, just truly terrifying. Kind of a relief that she isn't just like super evil all the time and lying to us all. That would feel kind of, I don't know, even more brutal, but maybe less brutal. Because you'd be like, well, at least you just know she's a killer, psycho, dog, alter maniac. And the idea that she's not, I don't know, it's really complicated. But yeah, I think I'm happier that she doesn't know. So she can kind of fight back against it in some way. I don't know, some weird kind of Freddy Krueger kind of situation where she doesn't want to go to sleep, because when she goes to sleep, she like becomes a Freddy Krueger-esque kind of thingy. It's really weird and messed up, but also just when the dog comes in and she's holding the dog, she's like, I won't screw up this time. Man, if that dog knew what was up, he would get the hell out of there. Get out of there, Steve the dog. Just get out of there. There's got to be a better owner. It would be better on the streets. I just don't want to see his head chopped off. So I love a joke, but you know what I love more than a joke? I love a bad dad joke told by a dad who loves the joke. Nobody in the vicinity of the joke hearing the joke with their earballs, like they don't respond. They don't laugh. They don't even really kind of listen. It just kind of happens, and the dad kind of goes, and then just like at another point says another dad joke. And guess what we get this episode? 3 jokes by Jeff. 3 dad jokes. The first one, something about chicken nuggets or something. Loved it. Genuinely made me laugh. So good. Loved it. Then there was another one later. He did another one. And his wife, Shauna, no response. She's like, I'm focusing on all these terrifying paintings that are actually quite amazing, but we've got to burn them or, smudge them or do something. And he just, like that second joke, he's like, he's just having fun that he's doing jokes. And then they follow the classic comedy rule of 1, 2, 3. And the third time he tells a dad joke, he sets one up and then just doesn't have a joke. And he's like, I thought it would just come to me. I was on a roll. I was doing so many dad jokes all day. I'm in such a good mood. Genuinely hilarious. Love it. This is the best Jeff we've had so far. I just love Jeff now. Jeff's a great character. There were so many comedy bits when they're doing the fire situation and they burn the tree. And it's just I don't know, weird hijinks and situations. Has a bit of a kind of Santa Clarita Diet situation. That show, a bit of a Desperate Housewives feel. Just 2 parents who are in over their heads in this murder situation and they're just trying to make it work. It's wonderful. Also, he has a scene in the car when he listens to like just, I don't know, like, not to say the song is bad, but like when that song came on and he's just like rocking out, but just kind of trying to get that anger out because clearly he's very jealous that his wife slept with sexy young man that she then murdered and he painted her all over the walls. He's just trying to get his anger out with a emo song, and it's just like, that's just so good, but also, what is he, 14? I loved it. I love Jeff. You know what I don't love? Moments that are so dumb, they defy comprehension. They just make you go, wow, if this show was not good, I would just rip this to shreds. I would tear this moment down because it's so dumb and so stupid and so convenient. It defies comprehension and belief. But luckily, literally every other second of this episode was spectacular and I actually really enjoyed it. So I was kind of happy to let it slide. And that, of course, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, you've just forgotten because it's the only scene that is just so dumb. I mean, it's so dumb it's funny. Like, I laughed out loud. It was like a joke. Like, it was like in an SNL parody sketch. Like, I couldn't believe it. But they have burned everything. All the books, all the IDs, all the Adam stuff. And she lifts up the barbecue lid and she's like, I better find some stuff that they've burned. Hopefully there's something here that points to the thing that I'm presuming they've done, which is kill Adam. And she picks out this one tiny little thing that hasn't been burned. Everything else, ash. Everything else, completely ash. And the one thing that isn't ash is the face part of the ID. Not the name, not half the name, not something where she's like, maybe I could figure out if this is the address of this. No. His face. What? What do you... The likeliness of it being that, the one thing that would confirm her suspicion. It's just, oh, thank God this show is good, because otherwise, like, if every moment in the episode was that dumb, oh boy, the season 2 would have taken a nosedive. But luckily it hadn't, and honestly, I don't actually care. It's like, whatever. If a show is mostly spectacular and almost perfect in every other way, scenes like that I actually kind of find oddly charming. Like, when someone you're friends with or you love just kind of does something so stupid where you're like, I don't actually think like it's bad. It's just like, it's almost kind of charming and like adorable that they've done something so silly. Like, you're like, you're trying your best, but that was just no good. Like, no good. You should be ashamed, but don't be ashamed. But you should be, but don't, because I don't want to make you feel bad, because I love you, Yellowjackets, the TV series. But what the hell was that? That was so dumb. I love this show. Give me episode 2 right now, please.